Rocket number 9, take off to the planet, Venus.
Hi, I'm Kesenya and welcome to This Week in Astrology. We've got a very exciting week ahead and we're looking at what's happening in the astrological sky from this week, the 25th of October through to the 31st of October, the last week of October before we head on into beautiful, promising, full of hope November. And there's a lot going on in the sky this week, particularly from Venus, who's doing a great song and dance act up there running retrograde. And so I've decided to wear my green dress, which is the color of Venus, and let's channel some of her energy this week. And so we're going to actually walk through everything that's going to be happening, the big key pivotal points in the sky this coming week. But before we start, I just want to apologize for the last couple of videos that of mine that have appeared on the Astrology channel. They've been really heavily saturated with ads, and I just need to apologize to everyone. That is such a nightmare. I hate seeing huge amounts of ads on videos. On my channel, I don't have to deal with ads, so it was a new thing for me, and I'm terribly sorry about those last couple of videos with all their ads. I promise you, from now on, there will be minimal ads because I know how crazy making it can actually be. So let's get started. We're going to begin with Thursday, the 25th of October, which is the date that all this activity is going to fall on for those within the sort of Australia, New Zealand longitudinal area of the world. And as we progress, around the world, it's going to be more like the 24th for other countries such as the UK, Europe, America. A lot of this activity is going to be actually unfolding on the 24th for you. So let's begin, and we're looking at Saturn sextile Venus on this day. So here's Saturn up here sitting in Capricorn at 4 degrees of Capricorn, and there's Venus kind of hiding behind the sun there after the full moon, which occurred on the 24th. And so here's Venus as sort of coming into the mix, if you like, not exact degree, but getting involved in the mix between the full moon Uranus and the sun, which has just occurred. And so there's this beautiful sextile happening between Venus and Saturn. This aspect can actually increase our need and desire for companionship because this Saturn represents stability, Venus represents relationship and love relationship, yes, but also companionship as well. You're going to want to feel valued and loved by someone, whether that's your existing partner or you're going to just hunger basically for more appreciation and love, but it's going to need to be serious because Saturn's involved. It's not a fling, it's not an affair, it's this harmonious, mature approach from Saturn. Saturn is maturity, Saturn is stability, Saturn is serious. So you're going to want to feel loved and valued in a very serious way, committed way with Saturn-Venus sextile. You might even take an approach that's a bit more dutiful towards your commitments. You might be feeling, very responsible about being committed to someone, about connecting with somebody for the long haul. Saturn is longevity and time. And of course, Venus is companionship, love, romance, those sorts of things. Now, new relationships are actually possible at this time, despite the fact that Venus is retrograde. We must always keep that in mind for the time being. And whatever is started during Venus retrograde will likely not last, so keep that in mind. But you may actually find somebody that you can develop a friendship with that after Venus retrograde can turn into something a lot more serious. You're not, at this time with Saturn sextile Venus, you're not looking for one-night stands. You want the serious, committed long-term. And with that being the case, it is a good idea to, get to know other people as a friendship first. Don't jump into bed with them on the first night. Take your time and wait till Venus retrograde's over. But the support from this sextile Saturn to Venus indicates potential for longevity and stability in any type of relationship. And you'll also attract people at this time, on this day, that are interested in more long-term commitment, that are interested in having a serious relationship, not just having a fling. So it's a great day if you want to reach out and connect with people. There can also be age differences because Saturn is the old man of the horoscope. So there can definitely be some age differences that arise in relationships on this day, or it could just simply be some sort of companionship with an authority figure. Maybe you really hit it off wonderfully well with your boss, or with some sort of a person in authority over a government official or something. Maybe the police pull you over on the road and you get off lightly, you don't get a ticket or something, but there's a good interaction or relationship capacity or vibe, if you like, between authority figures on this day too. So even though love is going to be, a driving force on this day, you're going to have much more practical approach to things. You're not going to be looking through rose-colored glasses at potential partners or at your existing lover. You're going to be much more practical, which is Saturn, down to earth, grounded, and see the realities, the possibilities as well as the pitfalls, and be quite pragmatic about it. So which is good. It's healthy to have that in relationships, and particularly when we're looking for future partners as well. Now, it's actually a really great configuration to have if you are intending to do some sort of business transactions on this day. Saturn is structure and Venus obviously is money. So if you're looking at, putting some structures around how you earn money, investing in maybe real estate, works of art, collections, any type of collections is ruled by Venus. Any type of design work, Venus-Saturn connections are fabulous for design work. It's a great day for paying off debt. Saturn is, making regular payments, doing the hard yards, and you can actually achieve a clearance of a debt on this day. And basically anything requiring detail or organization, and as I said, design work can be really supported on this day. So if you want to get a logo made for your business, it's a great day to approach a graphic designer and say, look, this is what I want. These are the specifications. Could it be like this? And work out and plan and organize for any type of design work, logos, websites, anything that requires structure. Maybe, you approach an architect to work on a design for a house or an extension or something. All that sort of thing is going to be very supported for you on Thursday, the 25th. And then on the Friday, the 26th, not too much exciting happening. Nothing's really going to alter. We'll still be feeling the effects of, to a small degree, the outfall of the full moon that occurred, and we'll still be feeling the effects of the sextile that's happening and a couple of other of the configurations, but nothing to an exact degree. I like to talk about exact degrees because that's when we get the manifestations. But on the Saturday, which will be, let me check my dates. I know it's confusing, but it'll be Saturday the 27th in the sort of New Zealand, Australia, Indonesia kind of parts of the world, Japan, and it'll be Friday the 26th in sort of the UK, Europe, America, and so on. So I hope that's not confusing everybody, but we are all in this together. We are a global community, so we need to include everybody, and I hope you can keep up with whereabouts and whoabouts I'm talking about on each day. So currently we're on the 27th of October, which is Saturday, Friday the 26th in other areas, and we're looking at the Sun conjuncting Venus exactly on this day. This is an important day, especially as Venus is doing the big power play over this week, because Venus will go, and she's invisible at the moment, but when she conjuncts with the Sun, she goes from being the evening star that we've seen bright in the sky, shining after sunset, low on the horizon. She goes from being the beautiful evening star, although she's recently become invisible, being overpowered by the Sun. She will become the morning star. So from now on, she's still invisible for a little while, but as she gradually becomes more visible, the Sun and Venus continue to separate, the Sun will move up here, and Venus in retrograde motion will move down here. So they're going to pull apart. Eventually Venus is going to be visible again, and she will no longer be the evening star, she will be the morning star. So this is a big change in what we see in the sky and the influence of Venus for anyone born from now on. When we have planets before the Sun, it indicates in a natal chart for people born, it indicates something very different to what it is to have planets following after the Sun. And if you'd like to get a reading to look at those things, I'd be more than happy to explore what the influence of planets before the Sun and after the Sun could be in your own natal chart. But this is actually occurring at 3 degrees of Scorpio. And as you can see, we've got a lot of Scorpio action, all these 4 planets happening in Scorpio opposing the moon and Uranus. There's big action going on between this axis in the chart. And we'll talk a little more about that. I'm going to go through each sign and what a certain configuration on these axes is going to bring you later in this coming week. But we've actually got a kite configuration forming in the sky on this day, as well as Venus becoming the morning star. And this kite configuration is going to be occurring between the moon, which is now down at 3 degrees of Gemini, and it's occurring between the moon here and the north node here, and Chiron, which is sitting up at the last degrees of Pisces. So I'll just put a dot there for Chiron. I don't have a symbol for him. So there's that there. And of course, these two, the North Node and Chiron, are connecting there. And then we've got Mercury as well. Jupiter, not Mercury, sitting up here at 27 degrees of Scorpio. So we're going to end up, not only we've got this action with Venus, but we've also got a kite configuration being made in the sky on this day as well. And as you can see, kite configurations, just for a bit of general knowledge of astrology here, are made up between a grand trine, which is this large triangle, and a bisextile triangle, which is this smaller triangle. And the most pivotal planet is this planet here at the apex, which is the moon on this day. This is a very successful configuration. It indicates, in a natal chart, it would indicate that a person would be throughout their lifetime motivated as well as lucky. And the bit that's bringing the motivation, this is the luck component, but the motivation element is actually this opposition from Jupiter to the moon. That's what would bring motivation to a person. It's an opposition. And where there is tension through some kind of hard aspect like an opposition or a square, we find that we are galvanized into action to make changes, to push against the energies that are perhaps holding us back a little and to make change. And that's the motivating energy that unfolds. But the main thing I wanted to cover with this, just a reference to the kite shape, is that the energies of this shape mean that the energy is spread across many areas of the horoscope. You can see there's a big spread from the North Node, the Moon, Chiron, even Neptune, and the energies are all over, meaning that we can address many facets of our life on this day and do it successfully and do it well. So I really wanted to point that out. This beautiful kite configuration can mean we can manifest in many areas of our life with confidence, with ease, and maybe with a bit of motivation as well as luck. But now what I wanted to have a quick talk about, I'll just clear my board off, is the Sun conjunct Venus on this day, which is happening up here, obviously. There we are, in the sign of Scorpio. And what does it mean to have the Sun conjunct Venus? Because it happens fairly frequently. I mean, it's not like a monthly occurrence, but it does happen fairly regularly compared to other transits. What does it actually mean when we, excuse me, doing my little bit of work there. What does it actually mean when we have the Sun and Venus connecting in the sky? Well, the Sun's going to shine a light on these Venus issues again, as if we haven't had enough energy directed into Venus issues with the retrograde going on. Venus issues are women's matters, love, relationships, and money, finances, possessions, collections of things, you know, our the things we need to support our bodily journey through life, our income, our car, our home, you know, the things that support our life. So we're going to have a big influence from the sun shining on those things. Even culture and creativity as well can be represented by Venus. We can actually manifest more warmth, more love, more affection happening in our lives on this day. And people will be attracted to this warmth. They will appreciate our Venusian qualities. You might feel more sociable than usual. Sun is very sociable. We can create new friendships and new contacts, new networks even. And any relationship that gets its beginnings at this time will also be favorably supported. And as I said, Venus rules money. So any type of monetary activities can also be supported at this time, because not only do we have this happening, but this is happening at 3 degrees, which is 1 degree off this sextile to the Saturn. So again, there's still that energy supporting and playing out there. So definitely wise spending, mature spending, you know, spending, you know, on things that you've thought long and hard about, and you've decided with a great deal of maturity and sensibleness, not impulse buys or anything, but the things that you've thought about can be very much supported at this time. So spending and having pleasurable activities, going to the theatre, or you know, meeting people at the pub for dinner, and you know, doing fun sociable things, very supported on this day. And then we're going to skip Sunday because again there's no direct alignments with exact degrees, but on Monday the 29th, which will actually be Sunday in some parts of the world, Sunday the 28th, is going to bring Mercury conjuncting with Jupiter up here. So let's put them together, make sure that they're doing the right things. We can all see. There they are, little old Mercury connecting in the sky right on top of Jupiter there in Scorpio. This can bring good news. So this coming Monday, Sunday, you might receive some good news, something optimistic, something hopeful, something buoyant. Mercury is the messenger of the gods, and Jupiter is expansion. Jupiter is prosperity and abundance. So it's going to be something good. You're going to receive some kind of a uplifting message. Now that could be something internal, something divinely inspired that comes to you, or it could be, you know, someone gets in touch with you and offers you an opportunity that you hadn't expected, or somebody writes you an email, or somebody even, you know, jumps on social media and connects with you that way, that gives you a message of buoyancy and hope and optimism, which are all Jupiterian things. Now, Mercury also rules the mind, and so we can feel very expanded mentally on this day. We can feel buoyant mentally. We can have an attitude of optimism and, in fact, jovialness. That's jovial is the word jovial is a play, or I can't think of the actual term, but it comes from, it's a derivative of the word Jupiter. To be jovial is to be Jupiterian, basically. So we're going to have this jovial mindset, an optimistic, positive, happy, fun outlook. You might like to explore opportunities for travel. You know, this is Jupiter represents travel, and Mercury is the mind. So you might start researching a holiday for next year, or maybe book a holiday for next year. You might also, Jupiter is higher learning, so you might even do some research about something you might like to study, or enroll in a course, or begin some kind of higher learning opportunity that you've been thinking about. You might actually put it into action on this day. This is a sort of roughly once a year connection, so you're going to be, it's a rarer transit than some of the others to have the conjunction of Jupiter and Mercury, so you're going to be quite motivated to look at Jupiterian things in a mental way. So again, higher learning, travel opportunities, and also belief systems, faith systems. You might actually decide, oh, I'd really like to read up more about Buddhism or something, you know, and you can grab a book from the library on this day and start getting into some sort of research of belief systems. even going out to a cultural restaurant would be supported. Some kind of a restaurant where you've never been before, from a different culture, particularly because Jupiter is connected to expansion of understanding, and we do that by immersing ourselves in different cultural practices and beliefs, and kind of trying to get our head around, well, what is their motivation? This is why Jupiter's connected to philosophy. What is the motivation behind their thinking, behind their belief systems? And we try to understand how others function, and this is what can actually give us a really expanded mindset. So there's going to be a great deal of capacity for that on this day as well. And also, both being quite social planets, you're going to enjoy going out. You're going to enjoy connecting with others and socializing in some way, even if that's just on Instagram or something. It's going to be a great day for socializing, connecting, talking to others. I mean, Mercury is talking and Jupiter is expansion. So again, lots of emphasis on those things for everybody on Monday/Sunday. Okay, so now we've got these two changing places, because now Venus is moved to the other side of the sun. And as it does so, it's actually going to be opposing Uranus at 0 degrees. 0 degrees is the first degree. So this is happening on Tuesday the 30th and Monday the 29th. So Tuesday the 30th, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, all those longitudinal countries hit it first, or date-wise. It all happens at the same time, but for us, it's happening on our Tuesday, the 30th, and the rest of the world, it's happening at the same time, but it will be Monday the 29th for other people. So I hope I'm making sense there and not confusing anyone. But we've got this opposition happening, Uranus and Venus, on Tuesday, Monday. And what does that mean? Well, this is an exciting event. It's at 0 degrees, so that makes it very important. It's the first degree of the sign, as I mentioned. And so 0 degrees is new beginnings, something new, something that you haven't yet experienced can enter into your life on this day. 0 degrees is such an important degree in the horoscope. And similarly, the 29th degree is always a very important degree because it's the final hurrah for any planet, unless it's moving retrograde like Venus. It's the final degree where the planet will have any say in the influences of that house, and I use whole sign astrology. So just say the moon happens to be at 29 degrees. Well, it's going to do its last little bit of activity in, for example, this sign, which is the sign of Gemini, and that particular house, wherever it happens to fall for you. So when we've got a planet at 29 degrees, it indicates a last hurrah, a final influence, an ending of something, concluding of something. And then when we've got a planet at 0 degrees, it indicates a beginning, a new start, a new energy, a new influence. And of course, Uranus, who's also retrograde at the moment, has been sitting there for quite some time. So he's bringing about sudden, unexpected, out of the blocks, new things that we haven't really known were coming to us. And we've all been feeling this energy. I know certainly so many of my clients, as well as myself, are experiencing like things and feelings, attitudes and emotions that we have never really experienced before. For example, I've got a handful of clients who have recently lost their jobs or change jobs with no other job to go to. And they're like, I'm not concerned. I'm not fazed, I just feel like the universe has got my back. I've never felt this way before. Usually when I've been unemployed or looking for work, I've been, in a panic. I need to find work. I need to get an income. This time I'm like, whatever. The universe is working it all out, and I'm actually deep down at a gut level, I'm not concerned. So that's what I mean by that. That's an example of how you can have a completely different approach to things that you've never kind of had before when you've got these energies playing out. It doesn't have to actually mean something new on a manifested third dimensional world level. It can actually mean something new in your own attitudes, particularly when planets are retrograde, like Venus and Uranus are at the moment. You can have, it's very internalized. Your attitude can be different. Your belief structure can be different. Your desires can be different. And you can experience all these things in a way that you've never actually undergone in this lifetime before, when it's at 0 degrees. So how does Venus opposite Uranus ordinarily play out in the horoscope? And then we're going to look through Venus, Uranus manifesting in each of the houses. Well, whenever we get a connection of Venus and Uranus, it usually signals a big change, an unexpected change, a momentous change in our love life. So we can expect that there might be some upheavals, some shake-ups, some, unusual energy relating to our love and relationship life. Like I said, Venus is the big player this week. She is making so many contacts with different planets, authority figure planets, father figure planets, big movers and shakers like Uranus. So there is going to be an emphasis for this whole week on the idea of Venusian things, love and relationships, money and finances, mainly culture and pleasure. These things are going to be heavily impacted in the coming week ahead, and particularly on this day, the Tuesday and the Monday, depending where you are in the world, there's going to be some shake-ups regarding relationships and love. So if you're in a marriage or a long-term relationship, you might get a bit of invigoration to make things more kinky. Hello, Uranus, that's what he does. You might reinvigorate things in the bedroom. You might reinvigorate things with your, your communication style in romance. You're going to need change and excitement in your ordinary humdrum everyday routine with your partner. It needs to get some amping up on this day. You're going to desire that. You're going to want that. Flirting with one another in a married relationship, and also if you're single, flirting with people, that can actually lead to something. It can actually manifest something. It can bring about something that you didn't expect. So flirting, Venus is connected to a bit of batting the eyelids, that sort of thing. And Uranus is unexpected results, unexpected energy, unexpected opportunities even, that make the connection with Uranus is his idea is to make us more authentic, more honest, more true. He's all about truth. He will not tolerate fakeness. So we're going to want to, we'll see someone we rather like, we'll bat the eyelids, and the response the can be something unexpected, but it's something that is authentic, something that is true, something that is honest. But because this is an opposition, it can actually mean things will be short-lived. So you might bat your eyelids and attract some attention and, have an interaction that's fun and exciting and exhilarating. That's the nature of Uranus. But it's unlikely to last. So if you have an affair at this time, it's not going to lead anywhere. Also some sort of new romance on this day is actually probably, or begun on this day, will probably not last either, because Uranus is short-lived. It has this electric energy, on, off, on, off, on, off, not enduring and long haul like Saturn. So with this electrical energy of Uranus, if you do bat your eyelids and have some success, it'll be a fling. It'll be just a bit of fun. So don't go looking for the serious and long term on this day. Equally, Venus is retrograde, so double whammy of that kind of energy, where it's okay, bit of fun, bit of flirting, bit of hey ho, and then that's as far as it'll probably go. And also Uranus rules the internet, so internet dating can be fun and exhilarating and exciting on this day. Just make sure that you remain authentic and truthful and honest, because they are the things that Uranus rules. Uranus also rules the internet. Venus is love and relationships, so keep it real, people. Now, for those of us like myself, for whom singleness is just the par for the course, then we actually can look at Venus Uranus manifesting other things unexpectedly and with exhilaration and excitement and authenticity in our lives. So this can be things like financial situations, financial opportunities. Windfalls can come, financial windfalls, but be careful if they do, because they won't last. So you might discover $1,000 in a bank account you'd forgotten about, Well, don't go spend it all at once, because hell, you might need that, you know, to pay for the new vacuum cleaner that's just broken or something. You know, you can get a windfall, but you've got to be wise with it. If you're frivolous with it, you know, it's not gonna account for much at all, because this is this Uranian energy where sudden windfalls, but then it's gone as soon as you get it, basically. So no, if you do get a windfall, if you do get an opportunity through money or you know, even some sort of cultural opportunity, then, you know, don't gamble it away. Don't sort of take risky ventures. Just sit on it, sit tight, and hang on until the influence has passed, because you might need to use that money. You might need to utilize that cultural contact that you've made, because yeah, Venus is all about cultural things, and Uranus is sudden and unexpected things. So hopefully that explains the dynamic between Uranus and Venus opposition. It can bring good, exciting, amazing things in, but because there's an opposition and it's on-off energy, whatever it is unlikely to last. But let's just have a look at how that might actually play out in each of the signs. Because, as I said, it is at that very important degree, the 0 degrees of new beginning. So whatever is brought in may not last, but it might actually herald some kind of a change that is, you know, long term for you on an inner personal level. So let's start with Aries. Aries rising people. This will be falling in 2nd house, 8th house. So monetary issues are going to be what can be manifested at this time in a sudden, unexpected way. Like I said, windfalls, that could definitely be the case for you. Anything that's to do with security and stability, which is the 2nd house. And similarly, the 8th house is crisis. So you could find that you know, it manifests in either or way. You might find a sudden crisis enters your life, and just know it's not going to last. But what might come out of it when we've got these planets at 0 degrees is a change in internal attitude that you might have towards managing things, towards managing crisis. So, for example, Uranus opposite opposite Venus in the 8th house can actually mean, you know, you get a health scare, you know, or actually that's probably more likely to be the 6th house. You might, something hidden might you know, suddenly come to light. Maybe you've been dealing with some person on the surface, and then you find out something about them, and it's a shock, and it's a sudden, oh my goodness, is that what I'm dealing with? This is a revelation to me. You get some sort of crisis. Oh my God, I don't want to have to deal with that person anymore because they're this or they're that, or they're criminal or whatever. 8th house things. But it, you know, so you make a change because of that. And from then on, you're more wary from then on of people that you're dealing with, of the, you know, you do your background research in the future so that you don't get in this trap again. So like I said, something sudden, unexpected can manifest, but it will lead, and it has the possibility, because both planets are retrograde, will lead to an internal change of attitude that you will then carry forward into the future. So yeah, it can happen in either 8th house things or 2nd house things, maybe some financial thing that comes to you suddenly. You have a, I don't know, you go out for lunch somewhere, and it's a really important meeting that you have, and connection, networking even, that you have, a financially beneficial situation, and you therefore change your attitude towards networking with certain groups of people in the future. You know, that's just crazy, pulled out of nowhere example. But money, resources, self-worth is also something that something suddenly can manifest that leads to a different attitude change, and that's how both those houses could play out for you with this opposition. Next we have Taurus. And of course, this is happening in your house, Taurus, 1st house and 7th house. So something unexpected might occur in 7th house matters. Venus in the 7th house. Venus is relationships, and this is happening in the house of committed partnerships for you, Taurus people, Taurus rising. And so you might have some sudden unexpected manifestation on this day. You know, maybe, you know, you have a fight with your married marriage partner or your committed partner or your business partner, and it's over really quickly. There's sort of some tension there. You know, Mars is more the planet of fighting, but there's some tension there, some sudden unexpected argy-bargy or opposite sort of energy, and it's over as quickly as it started, but it's left you with an attitudinal change about, right, well, from now on, I'm just going to be upfront. I'm going to be more honest with my business dealings with this person, or I'm going to start telling my partner when I'm feeling hurt like this. I'm not going to keep it to myself anymore. So this is the manifestation that can occur. You have a fight, or some kind of something out of the blue, something manifests for you suddenly, unexpectedly, and it leads you to an attitude change regarding relationships or business partnerships. Okay, and the first house, this can actually play out. Uranus is there, something sudden, unexpected for you concerning you know, the way you present yourself in the world. When you've got Uranus in the first house, you can change your public image drastically, and Venus is connected, particularly for women, to beauty and to how we present in the world. So definitely there can be something sudden and unexpected happens to you with your body. You know, you might go and get your nails done, for example, and you think, oh, I'm going to have bright purple with orange dots on them or something on your nails, and you come away and go, oh my God, well, lesson learned, I'm never going to do that again. That's absolutely foul. So, you know, you can, something that you do something unexpected, out of the ordinary, concerning beauty, concerning your body, and you just, you know, like, oh, and you get a whole different attitude change, right? Or I'm never going back to that nail technician again because they're crap. You know, it's very much connected to your physical appearance, how you appear, you know, show up in the world on a physical level, and particularly beauty because of Venus's contribution there, something unexpected that leads to change in attitude regarding beauty. Gemini, we have you happening in the 12th house and the 6th house. So Uranus is in the 12th house, so there can be something unexpected in terms of anything spiritual, anything divinely inspired. Quite possibly with Uranus in the 12th house, the dreams will be quite erratic. Your dream life can really lead you to make some karmic changes. If Uranus is being triggered, as it is by the opposition with Venus in the 12th house, you can find, you know, you wake up in the middle of the night with a kind of, you know, you've had a dream that's really powerful, that's really strong. Well, I'd encourage you to write it down. I'd encourage you to even, you know, jump online in the morning and find out, well, what does it mean when you dream about snakes or spiders or whatever it is that you've actually dreamt about, and research that, because it can be very telling. It can be very insightful to look at that and what the universe is trying to tell you through your dreams. So you might get an unexpected dream, something that's really out of the blue in terms of dream life, that's actually a message that you need to really pay attention to. And it's likely because of Venus's involvement, it will have something to do with the women in your life. So if you do have a dream, wake up, research what the meaning of that dream is by Googling online, and apply it to how you relate to women in the world because of Venus's involvement. You know, just say you dream about snakes, and from recollection, I believe snake dreams are indicators of new beginnings. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're indicators of new beginnings. So you would then go out the next day and treat the women in your life as, this is a fresh start with you. I'm going to begin in a fresh way with you. Our relationship's going to have some sort of fresh new dynamic to it. That's just one example. It can happen in many ways. But then we've got the Venus falling in the 6th house. So it may manifest that, you know, you go and treat your female co-workers in a fresh way if you've had this dream of snakes. But it's connected to the sixth house. So there's a real connection to something suddenly happening out of the blue with sixth house things. Health routine. Maybe you suddenly do some different health routine and you pull a hamstring and you think, oh, never doing that again. I'm going to take a whole different approach. From now on, I'm just doing yoga. Forget the weights at the gym. You something will happen out of the blue, unexpected, with regard to your health, with regard to your work routines. Maybe you drive a different way to work in the morning and you get caught in the traffic and it changes your approach and your attitude. I'm never going that way to work again. So it can happen with regard to your daily routine, something out of it unexpected with regard to your health and your health routines. Also, sixth house is hidden enemies. Something might come to light regarding some female Venus hidden enemy that happens suddenly in your life, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize they had it in for me and that were giving me a hard time. I am actually going to avoid them from now on, or I'm not going to send them emails anymore. I'm not going to include them in my social media messages, or you will something about hidden enemies might come to light in a rather shocking, out of the blue way, and you will then have to change your attitude and approach towards dealing with them in the future. All right, so next one. Cancer rising. Hello, beautiful Cancer, gentle people. I hope you're all getting ready for the change of the North Node moving into your sign very soon in November. I can't wait for that. Cancer rising, this is going to place things in your 5th house and 11th house. So Venus is in your 5th house of love and romance. So there's a big emphasis around love, romance, even children and creative expression with this placement. You're going to be more cultural. You're going to want to enjoy cultural activities, and you might suddenly get the impetus to go and do that. You might think, you know what, screw staying at home and watching telly tonight. I'm going to go out to a theatre show. Or you suddenly want to do something really different in terms of cultural experiences. It's very connected to theatre and productions on stage, that sort of stuff, maybe concerts even. Venus is connected to the voice and singing, so you might want to go and hear a performance, a singer of some sort. So this can happen unexpectedly. You might get an opportunity to do that. You might actually, you might find that your voice, if you are a performer, that your voice sort of, I've got a frog in my throat and I've got to sing tonight, and there can be something unexpected, like, oh my God, I better stock up on the strepsils or the cough lollies or whatever you do, because your voice is giving you trouble. Venus's voice, unexpected events can occur in regards to performance. Unexpected things can occur in regard to romance. You might get a bunch of flowers delivered to you at work or something completely out of the blue that some secret admirer perhaps, sends you a box of chocolates. I know, something that you weren't expecting, that you weren't looking for. Now, as we talked about, it can be something that doesn't last very long, but it will, pass quickly. Same goes for the sore voice. It won't last, but it can change your attitude. So you might suddenly, you might have been in a situation where you were just like, oh man, they always hurt me, or I'm always let down, or they always dump me and I never know why, or, really anti-relationships, anti-romance, and you just in the dumps. And then you get this, out of the blue sort of secret admirer note, or, message at work or something. And lo and behold, your whole attitude changes, and you're like, well, you know what? Maybe I could accommodate some romance in my life after all. Maybe I'm not completely turned off to the idea of meeting somebody after all that. So there will be some sort of unexpected event that will change your inner outlook regarding children, regarding love and romance, or possibly regarding performance, or being, self-expressing, and sharing who you are with the world. Now, equally, it could play out, because we're dealing with an opposition here, it could play out in the 11th house of large groups of people. Maybe you are, suddenly asked at work, hey, can you, I actually have to attend another meeting. Could you give the presentation to this large group of developers at work? And you're like, oh my God. So you get something shocking out of the blue. You've got to deal with a large group of people that you never expected that you would. You might have to, readdress some goals or some dreams, which is also 11th house. You might find that some kind of goal you had or dream you had. Maybe you wanted to book in and go to, you know, one of those retreats that's all about, you know, getting some work done or something like that, and you've been dreaming about that, and you know, Venus is beauty, and 11th house opposition is goals and dreams, and you've been dreaming about going and having, you know, a facelift or something, and suddenly your goals and dreams come crashing down. You realize, I can't do that. I haven't got the money for that. I can't actually pull that off. I have to readdress my goals and dreams regarding Venusian things, beauty, or you know, relationships. I have to readdress my goals and dreams there, and this might happen from some sudden, unexpected, outward type event that occurs on this day that makes you readdress goals and dreams concerning women, concerning beauty, concerning money and possessions, you know, all those Venusian things. So yeah, that's the 11th house manifestation there. You actually also, for you Cancer people, there might be some sudden unexpected opportunity to do some sort of humanitarian causes or humanitarian work. You might get really inspired to help on a humanitarian level with, you know, some sort of needs, or you know, provision of sort of your skills and abilities towards some kind of a, you know, let's make the world a better place kind of thing, and that can happen suddenly. You might get that enthusiasm to do that very suddenly, and you might contribute something. I mean, this could play out in that Venus, which is pleasures and cultural activities, opposing Uranus in the 11th house. You might get a sudden idea. Uranus rules light bulb moments. You might get an idea to, oh my goodness, let's hold an art exhibition of all these wonderful local artists we've got to raise money for the children of Sudan, to help them deal with the horrible issues that are occurring there. So, you know, you will get inspiration on this day for how you can, you know, work with humanitarian causes, reach large groups of people, and perhaps doing so via Venusian things, and therefore you actually carry the ability to sorry, I've just lost my train of thought. Yeah, so you get a sudden sorry, my brain just went blank. So you get a sudden idea out of the blue for how you can help, and it might change your whole perspective. That, you know, becomes an annual event. You know, it's an idea that lasts once, but you know, you then move forward with your attitude there, and you think, right, I'm going to help these people on a more regular basis. I'm going to offer my humanitarian assistance in some sort of more regular way. I'm going to change my perspective. Okay, moving on from Cancer, we're in Leo, lovely, lovely Leo, and this then puts us in the 4th and 10th houses. So we might get some sort of unexpected event concerning our career, concerning our worldly achievements. We might have a sudden rise to fame. For example, you might, I don't know, release a video on YouTube or something on this day, and it gets like, you know, 20,000 views in one day. It's quite incredible. This is Uranus. Sudden opportunity, sudden social status, sudden rises to fame, and it's gone in a day. You know, it doesn't last, because Uranus's energy doesn't last. It dissipates quickly. So, but that experience might actually change your whole attitude and approach. You might think, okay, from now on, I'm going to start making videos. I might not get 20,000 hits or 20,000 views in the future, but I know that my videos can be appreciated, so I'm going to start doing them regularly. So you change your attitude with regard to career. It could be a project that you're working on. It could be you know, how visible you are within the company that you work for, how you show up within your workplace, or with your career aspirations, can really receive a beautiful injection of something unexpected and out of the blue, and it leads to a different attitudinal approach. Equally, it can, I mean, Uranus is so unexpected. It can happen positively and it could happen negatively, but the one thing with Uranus is it's going to bring you more authenticity and genuineness and truth into your life, whether it's positive or negative. So it's all for the good in the long term, but it could happen in a negative way that sees you perhaps, you know, lose some sort of social status, and you know, you have a very brief fall from grace, but it doesn't last. And after that, you change your opinion. You know, maybe you've always been a bit arrogant about, well, hey, I got here because I worked hard and I got my uni degree, and therefore I'm successful because I'm very clever. But you have this fall from grace where you really stuff up and muck up on this day, and it changes your attitude and you're humbled. So it brings you to a better place where you're like, oh gosh, you know, that could have happened to me. It could happen to anybody. I need to show more compassion to other people when they stuff up, when they make mistakes. I need to be a bit more kind. So, you know, a couple of different ways, positive, negative, it can play out. Fourth house is the other arena of life that can be impacted by this opposition for you, Leo rising people. And so fourth house is family, heritage, roots, home, and of course Venus is there. So Venus is bringing some sort of pleasurable experience. Maybe you get together for a family dinner or something, and Venus is food, and so you get together, you have a family dinner. It's a wonderful experience, but something sudden and something unexpected about it that leaves you with a different attitude to family, a different attitude to your roots, a different attitude to your heritage. Maybe you're all having a wonderful family dinner, everyone's drinking wine and talking, and oh, let me tell you the story about great grandmother, blah blah blah, and some skeleton comes out of the closet about great grandmother, and you're like, oh my goodness, I had no idea my family was, you know, I don't know, second cousin of King Henry VIII or something like that, and you know, it changes your whole perspective. Like, whoa, family, go us. You know, it could many different ways that could play out, but it's going to have something to do with heritage. You have something to do with family, roots, maybe your family home, your country of origin even, or your community of origin, you know, the area that you come from can be all impacted by this, and it might come through some sort of Venusian activity. So maybe the women in your family connect on this day, and something comes to light, or something is unexpected, you know, and unexpected connections that play out through family, particularly the women in the family, that can occur. All right, let's move along. We've got Virgo, lovely, beautiful, gentle Virgo, which is the priestess archetype, which we love. Virgo will place this occurrence, Venus opposite Uranus, in the 9th and the 3rd houses. So you can expect some kind of out of the blue opportunity or sudden occurrence that takes place with regard to, if we're looking at manifestation in the 9th house, higher learning, travel, or benefactors, people who wish us well, people who've got our back, people who support us. So you might find that, you know, maybe someone, some kind of guru that you've always looked up to and aspired to, maybe you sent them you've sent them 10 emails and they've never responded. Maybe it's, I don't know, somebody like Deepak Chopra or something like that, and you've asked them a question that's been on your heart for years and they've never got back to you. Or this could be the day that they actually do one of their video response questions. Oh, such and such has sent me this question, I'm going to address it. And you find that you get the answer that you've been longing for from your guru, from your benefactor, somebody that you've looked up to and aspired to. Benefactors are people that are kind of higher in rank than us. It doesn't mean that they're, you know, higher in caste system or social class or anything. It means they're people we look up to because they know more than us, or they're more spiritually advanced than us. We look up to them, and we want to learn from them. We want to glean from them their knowledge and their insights. So that's what a benefactor is. And so on this day, you might receive some kind of a benefit, you know, an answer to a question, or some kind of support from a benefactor. You might also, as I mentioned earlier, that you might be a good day for suddenly looking into some sort of university degree that you might like to do, maybe also some kind of trip that you might like to do. These are all 9th house things. Trips are also 3rd house things, small trips, large trips. So that's the difference. But they're both going to be impacted by this opposition. So you can actually look into those sorts of things on this day. You might get sudden, unexpected, I don't know, you might win a trip to Bali or somewhere like that. On this day, but just know it's something that's not going to last. So you might even think, hey, you know, I've won this trip to Bali, and then they contact you, the competition organizers contact you the next day and say, oh, sorry, it was a mix-up, it should have gone to someone else. So, you know, something quick suddenly manifests, but it doesn't last for you. But it's going to leave you with a different attitude. So in the example of the guru or the benefactor that I gave, you might get the answer to a question that you've been longing to have, and it will change your attitude. It will change your outlook and your view on life. And you can receive great blessing from that. Now, equally, third house things. You might get something sudden and unexpected occur for you in terms of marketing, promotions, advertising. Equally, writing, public speaking, doing some, even small businesses are seen by the third house. So you might get an idea for a small business. I mean, like I said, Uranus is light bulb moments. You might suddenly, be out for coffee with friends and you're chatting, very social house, third house, and you're chatting and you're like, oh wow, let's start this new dog washing venture or whatever, and you're all excited and it's wonderful and let's go do this. But then it all falls in a heap, and the idea was good, but the practical implementation just didn't have legs. So you get a light bulb moment, it doesn't come to fruition, but it changes your attitude, and you actually start looking into, well, what does it mean to have a small business? Let me do some research about that. Let me start a new outlook on life about, well, if I was to start my own business, what would I need to have in readiness for if that opportunity should ever arise again? Or I have a different now value for people who have their own small businesses, because I know how damn hard it is to get things off the ground, to deal with the taxes and the regulations and the blah, blah, blah. And you might actually have a new appreciation, a new outlook in life that comes from this opposition. So Venus here can indicate perhaps you might suddenly get a small business idea, or decide to do some advertising or some marketing, or maybe even some public speaking around Venusian things. So, love and relationships. I say it a million times in this video, but it's love and relationships. It's beauty things, anything to do with women. It's also connected to cultural practices and things we do for cultural pleasure, and also money and resources. All right, lovely Libra. And we're getting around them. Libra is going to manifest in the second house and the 8th house, which is the same as Aries, but reversed. So I'll just briefly go over them because they're going to be the same as the previous 6 we've just done. But for those who like to put timestamps on things and jump to their sign, I'll quickly go through. We've got Venus in the second house, so resources, so beauty, all those things that Venus rules as a planet are also seen by the second house as well. Self-value, the resources that we have for living, money that we make, the food that we eat, the clothes that we wear, all seen from the second house. So there can be some unexpected manifestation that occurs with regard to second house things that isn't going to last. So we might go down the street and we might spot a dress that we think is gorgeous. I must have that dress. And so you run down to the bank, you get the cash out, you go back to the store, and it's sold. Brief, sudden event that then makes you think, right, from now on, I'm carrying my credit card with me. I'm not going to depend on just having to go to the, get cash out every time. I'm going to make sure I've got my credit card or whatever. But it makes you take a whole different approach to how you spend money, how you use your money, or how you value yourself. The beauty routines that you have can also be seen by Venus in the second house. So something unexpected will happen with regard to second house things that's going to leave you with a different attitude. Something unexpected that doesn't last, that leaves you with a different attitude about that area of life. Money, finances, resources, things that support your bodily journey in this lifetime. And of course, Uranus is over for you in the 8th house. So something unexpected can manifest in terms of some sort of crisis or a transformational experience. So some kind of a, you might go through a death and rebirth type experience on this day. Very brief, very quick, very sudden, but it doesn't last. So, you might suddenly be devastated by something that occurs, I don't know, some kind of, some person in your life, maybe somebody who, let's use the example of someone with a will. And you're going to be a benefactor from their will. This is 8th house things, other people's money, and they contact you and they say, oh look, I'm not going to include you in my will anymore because, you know, I just really don't like the way you've done whatever. And you're like, you're devastated. And you go through a little mini death and rebirth experience. Like, oh man, I was counting on that money for my future or my retirement, and now it's not going to happen. Okay, I need to realign things. I need to find my sense of self-value. Second house. I need to find my sense of self-value again and repurpose my life, because that's not going to be there for me anymore. So you go through a little mini death or rebirth experience related to 8th house things, but because Uranus is in the 8th house where things happen suddenly, Uranus is sudden, and Venus is there and relating to money, it doesn't last. And you get a phone call later in the day saying from your lawyer that says, oh, hang on, such and such, that great aunt that you were speaking to this morning, she's actually starting to lose it, and we're not changing her will at all. It's staying the same, so don't you worry. And you're like, oh, phew. So, you know, but you get a different attitude. Like, well, what would happen if the rug was pulled from under me? How can I be more prepared? How can I handle, you know, my life in a more secure way so that I don't go through crisis like that in the future, and I can depend and lean on myself more? All those sorts of things, crisis, death and rebirth, transformational experiences, and also other people's money are where the focus will be on this day for Libra rising people. Okay, Libra, Scorpio, where all the action is taking place right now. So this is first house. Again, emphasis on the body, emphasis on how you show up visually in the world. With Venus there, you're going to have a big emphasis on beauty, emphasis on, you know, doing something to your appearance. You might suddenly decide to go get a haircut. Be careful, it's Venus retrograde. You might regret it. But, you know, just say you went and had a haircut and it was something radical and new and different, very Uranian to have something radical and new. You went and had a haircut and, okay, you did regret it later, but what did you learn? You learned, I'm never going to cut my hair like pink ever again. You know, it just doesn't suit me. It doesn't work. Looks great on her, looks crap on me. And you learn from that, and you implement a whole new attitude to hairstyles in the future. So something to do with your body, something to do with how you show up in the world will be suddenly impacted. Like you might have a sudden decision to do something, or it might come from an external source that's unrelated to your own choices. And there will be change that comes there, but it's not going to last. It won't. This is the energy of this transit. It's going to bring change. It's not going to last, but because it's at 0 degrees of the sign, it is going to implement something new. And because both planets are retrograde, something new from an internal perspective, how you see the world, how you view the world, how you go forward in the world from here on. So to do with body, how you appear in the world, and also to do with 7th house things, relationships, committed partnerships, business partnerships, also legal agreements and contracts that you sign. You might actually, Scorpio, you know, let's say that you are going to undergo some type of beauty surgery, and you have to sign a contract on this day, and something sudden and unexpected happens with regard to the contract, and you're like, hang on, I didn't read that fine print. My God, I'm not signing that after all. That's ridiculous. And you get some shock, some sudden unexpected thing regarding a contract to do with Venus things, perhaps. Money, finances, resources, you know, any contract pertaining to Venusian things. And so we're using the example of the beauty surgery example, and you're like, oh no, I'm not going through with that. I'm not gonna, if that's the fine print and that's what the agreement says, then I'm not doing that. And then your surgeon comes in and says, well, let's step through this. What does this actually mean? Let's talk about what the implications really are. And you're like, oh, okay, now I understand. All right, that's fine. Okay, I'm happy to sign. But the unexpected nature of that event causes you to say, I'm never going to sign anything without reading the fine print and going into detail in the future. So you change your whole perspective then regarding contracts and agreements with people in the future. Instead of just being trustworthy and naive, now you're going to be really thorough. So again, experiences that are sudden, unexpected, can be small and insignificant, can be big and large scale, but definitely going to lead you to a place of doing things differently in the future. Fresh attitude, new start with that 0 degrees for both these planets. Okay, and Sagittarius. Again, we've got a sixth house, 12th house emphasis. So with Venus in the 12th house, you might be divinely inspired to be creative with beauty. Like, you know, the 12th house is divine inspiration, divine healing even. So with regard to your, you know, femininity, your womanhood, your, you know, how you, you know, your beauty kind of regime or whatever that you do to look beautiful, you might be divinely inspired at this time out of the blue all of a sudden because of Uranus's connection. And you might decide, hey, I am going to start creating my own wardrobe. That's what I did with this dress. You might make your own clothes and think, you know, I'm going to actually start using my creativity to create something beautiful myself. And so you get this divine inspiration for a whole new wardrobe. And, you know, you make a start, the dress doesn't come together like you thought, and you throw it across the room in frustration and say, oh, forget it. I'm never going to try and sew my own clothes again. So the event happens, you're like, you know, suddenly unexpected, out of the blue, divine inspiration, and then you're like, oh, and that didn't last. But maybe your attitude towards how you, you know, your creativity changes, and you think, you know what, I'm gonna actually change my creative approach to things. From now on, I'm going to, you know, we're talking Venus appearances and beauty, bodily appearance. I'm going to actually go with this style of dressing and this style of presentation in the future much more than what I've used in the past. And this has come out of a sort of a divine inspiration for what suits you, what looks well on you. Or you might be divinely inspired regarding some kind of healing. And maybe you've always suffered with some kind of a problem, you know, physically, and you get, maybe it's a female problem with Venus there, and you get some sort of sudden, out of the blue, like light bulb moment, you know, maybe if I went to the naturopath, that might really help with my problem that I need healing from. And so you ring a naturopath, you get in, you booked in, okay, great, and then they ring you back and say, oh, look, I'm sorry, your naturopath's not taking any more new clients, so I'm very sorry about that. So you get this sudden idea, you're going to change something, you're going to address something to do with healing, and it doesn't quite work out the way you thought, but you've got a new change in attitude from this experience, and you're like, that's okay. I can't get into this naturopath. Obviously, that's not what's meant to be. The universe doesn't want me to go to this particular naturopath or healer or, you know, doctor or, you know, some kind of medical practice. And so you research other ones and you find, you take a whole new attitude, a whole new approach. I might be able to get into this naturopath, but here's an Ayurvedic naturopath practitioner. I'll see if I can get into them. And you take a new approach and you are divinely guided. This is 12th house kind of stuff. Divine guidance, divine inspiration, divine healing that guides you to the right person that can help heal your condition. So it will happen all of a sudden, and it will happen maybe through some sort of unexpected event, and it won't last long, but it's going to send you on a new course, a new path that might actually lead to, as Uranus likes to do, to our authenticity, to our liberation, to our freedom, concerning maybe 12th house health issues. And equally, the 6th house is connected to health issues as well. So you might have, I mean, it's a brilliant example for both houses, to be honest. You might have a health issue, and with Uranus transiting through the sign of Taurus, sudden light bulb moment, you know, about maybe some women's health issue because of Venus's connection on this day, and you know, you decide, like I said, you know, I've only ever seen doctors, and the doctors haven't helped me. Well, screw that. This is Uranus. Uranus is alternative healing. You know, it's naturopaths, it's energy healers, it's Reiki healers, it's kinesiology, it's all those alternative practices. And you're like, well, screw the main GPs because they're not doing me any good. I'm spending a fortune. It's not helping with my health, as seen by the 6th house. So I'm going to try something radically new, something radically different, something really out of the box. And maybe you are inspired to do this by some, you know, horrible event. And when I say horrible, it might be what needs to happen to give you the shove to get to a practitioner that is really going to be more beneficial. So I don't know, maybe you have a disaster with your monthly issues if you're a woman, some kind of disaster, and it's sudden and it's unexpected and it's out of the blue and you weren't thinking that was what was going to happen, and you know, but it's over like that in a day. It's gone, it's finished, it's done with. But you're like, that's it. Oh, sorry, that was a lot louder than I thought. That's it. I am not going to have to deal with this kind of stuff happening in my life anymore. I am going to go and get healed from this particular concern. It might be a beauty issue, it might be a women's health issue, it might be something to do with you know, women's reproductive organs, or you know, anything that is connected to women and health issues can really maybe get a bit of a light bulb moment that sends you on a new path at this time. Alrighty, we're going to go to Capricorn now. Lovely Capricorn there, and that puts us back into the 11th house and 5th house things again. So once again, we're looking for sudden, unexpected events that are going to happen in our love life, in our romance area of life, which is great. But just remember, they're not going to last, because Uranus's influence is sudden, unexpected, but it doesn't last. So you might have a, you know, you might meet somebody on the internet, on a dating site or something like that, which is ruled by Uranus, and you know, you have a wonderful chat and it's fantastic, but then you know, all of a sudden he disappears or she disappears and she's no longer on the site after your great conversation and you thought it was really going somewhere. Very frustrating, but you know, it might lead you to a place where, oh hey, I actually dodged a bullet with that guy or that girl, and now I've actually, you know, happy to spend a bit more time on internet dating, where before I was so discouraged and fed up I was tearing my hair out. But hey, I know I can meet and have good conversations with people, so I'm not going to give up on this just yet. And your whole attitude around romance and connection on social media or internet completely changes. Equally, it could be something to do with children that's radically altered, that you get a radical change through some sort of a event that comes into your life and leaves as quickly. So you know, you've always thought you're never going to have kids. Oh, kids, no, never. They just, you know, they eat and eat all your food and your money's down the drain and kids, yuck. And then you actually have an encounter with a child who absolutely wins your heart, and you think, oh my goodness, they're so well mannered, they're so beautiful, what a gorgeous kid. And perhaps your attitude then changes after a sudden unexpected encounter, and you're like, well, you know what, maybe I could go be a big brother or a big sister in that program that they run. I don't know if they do that all around the world, but where I help sort of mentor a young person, and maybe I'll do that instead of having kids, where I can actually connect with young people in some way that's beneficial. So, you know, you might get a whole change of attitude after an encounter with a child. That's just one example. You might go the other way. You might think, oh yeah, definitely want kids. I'm going to have lots of big family. And you come across a couple of kids and you're like, oh, that's it, no kids for me. Your mind's completely changed. That can go either way, but something unexpected, something out of the blue that you weren't expecting can really impact your view of those things in years to come. And this emphasis on large groups of people may be large groups of women, because in this case, we've got Venus in the 11th house. So large groups of women can be impacted by something sudden, something out of the blue, something unexpected on this day, but something that doesn't last, and something that will leave a big change in how the large groups of women will then interact in the world. So, you know, it could be that there's a rally that's organized and you march, you have a rally. This is also a Uranian thing, sort of sticking it to the man, protest rallies, humanitarian, you know, kind of organized things, you know, or good causes. And so maybe there's some rally or something that occurs for women on this day and you attend it. And, you know, something unexpected happens. You get a whole new change of perspective in life that comes from your attending a rally. Maybe you were just sort of half-assed about the whole cause or the belief or whatever it is that the large group of women is representing. And you go to this rally and it's like, oh, my eyes have been opened. Now I really see the truth. Now I see what is real, the authenticity of the situation. Right. I'm their new world's biggest advocate for whatever cause they're promoting. So that's the other way that can play out, with Venus happening in the 11th house of large groups of people, and Uranus bringing, you know, the rebel to the forefront, the you know, the rebel. And so there could be some big change for you on a personal level, for all Capricorn rising people, where you suddenly develop a passion for whatever humanitarian cause this happens to be. So that's another way that this can play out for Capricorn rising people. No, not last. I nearly forgot my beloved Pisces. But Aquarius rising. If you have Aquarius rising, this is going to put Uranus in your 4th house and Venus in the 10th. So you might find that there's a connection with your career on this day, 10th house, to women and to women's issues. Maybe you work, I don't know, maybe you're in advertising or marketing or something, and you're required to do some advertising or marketing for some sort of women's beauty products or something like that, and you get this opportunity that comes to you suddenly in your career to do something really exceptional regarding women's things. If you're not in advertising or marketing, maybe you're a lawyer and you could represent a woman who's been badly mistreated. This is a great opportunity for your career and a great opportunity for you to be an advocate for that person. Maybe you're a doctor, maybe you're a childcare worker. Like a million ways this could play out. But in your career, what you do for social status in the world and achievement, which is often seen by career, there will be some connection to women's issues on this day that happens suddenly out of the blue, that maybe provides you with an opportunity, or conversely provides you with maybe a little bit of a fall from grace, but it's ultimately going to be something that you need in order to manifest more authenticity and genuineness and be more true to yourself as a result of this. So something sudden, something unexpected, something out of the blue, and the result is going to be a change in attitude from you, a change in perspective, a change in worldview that you then have regarding your career, regarding your relationship to women's issues or financial issues represented by Venus, maybe a change in your relationships at work. Venus is relationships. So maybe you might have a complete about face with regard to who you trust at work, who you depend on at work, who's got your back at work, can be completely altered by some sort of sudden, unexpected experience that occurs for you on this day relating to career and social status. Equally, it's happening with Uranus in the 4th, and when we have Uranus in the 4th house, we can have big changes to family, to heritage, to roots, to lineage. So you might find that you have always connected well with your family. Maybe you have a falling out with maybe a sister or an aunt or some other feminine woman in your family on this day, but it doesn't last. It's a fight that might occur that just doesn't last. And then it leads to you actually being more honest, more real, more open with this person in your family. You didn't know something about them, and then something is revealed, and there's liberation that comes from that. There's authenticity and freedom that comes from that. Freedom to be yourself more. So definitely something unexpected can occur for you on this day in relation to family, or your heritage or roots, where you come from, where you grew up, your hometown, your home community, that sort of thing. There can be some sort of big change that results in a new perspective on your hometown, on your family, on your mother even, which is 4th house things. And lastly, we have Pisces, my favorite. Sorry, not meant to have favorites, are you? Pisces, this is going to be happening in the 3rd house and the 9th house. So you can expect on this day some big changes are going to occur to, marketing, social media, advertising, because that's the realms ruled by the 3rd house. Equally, business practices, small business opportunities. You might get a sudden opportunity that you weren't expecting with this. But it's an opportunity that comes to you and it doesn't last. So somebody might ring you and say, hey, I really want you to join my team, and I want your small business as part of my collective. So what do you think? And, you go away, you have a think about, your small business, what you want to achieve, what your goals are, and you think, no, and it doesn't last. It's an opportunity that sounds really great, but it doesn't come to fruition, or it doesn't last for the long term. You say yes, and then they back down and say, well, actually, I need you to contribute thousands of dollars, and you're like, no way. So definitely some sort of marketing opportunity, some advertising opportunity, small business opportunity or public speaking, communicating type opportunity that can manifest suddenly, unexpectedly, but it won't last. However, it's going to change your attitude, it's going to change your perspective and your view pertaining to those things. And equally, Pisces, you've got Venus up here in the 9th house. So you might have a female, Venus is women, a female benefactor who's you find has all of a sudden has got you back, and you weren't expecting that they'd have you back. Okay, and again, it may not last, but your perspective changes. You know, maybe some famous woman contacts you and says, hey, look, I've seen your work and I know what you're doing and I really love it, and would you design something for me, or would you could you do a reading for me, whatever it happens to be. Some benefactor type person might give you the time of day and you're like, wow, this is awesome, and then it doesn't come to fruition. But it changes your attitude in that you realize, wow, all these amazing high level people are actually watching what I do. They're seeing my work. They're seeing my presence in the world. That's going to change how I do things from now on. Now that I know I'm being appreciated by that network of people, or that guru, or that benefactor type level person, I am going to change my whole style, my attitude, my worldview about who I am and how I show up in the world. So you can get a manifestation like that. You can get a manifestation like an acceptance to a university course, perhaps that you applied for a few different ones and you get accepted, and then it's like, oh, that's actually not the one I wanted. So you get something that falls into your lap, some opportunity, and it's not really, it doesn't quite work out the way you had originally hoped. 9th house is like I said, higher learning. It's also trips and travels, and of course with Pisces rising, trips and travels are a big part of your how you show up in the world, having retreat spaces and holidays. So maybe you get an opportunity to have go to a health retreat, or actually with Venus there, it's probably more likely to be a beauty retreat, a day spa kind of a thing. You get an opportunity out of the blue to, attend a day spa. You go and have a treatment and you've got expectations that it's going to be this sort of a thing, but then it's not really quite up to what you thought. Or you get an opportunity to go to a day spa with your best friend, and it turns out that, or a benefactor, because it's in their 9th house, so it's opportunity for a trip away. Say if you say you lived in, like I do, country Victoria, and you get an opportunity to travel and go to the capital city, and go and have a treatment at a day spa, but then it doesn't work out the way you thought it would. Your best friend can't come with you have to go by yourself, but you get a different perspective, a different attitude, and you learn to perhaps enjoy going and doing things by yourself instead of going with your benefactor, going with your mentor, going and doing something with, someone that you look up to and respect. Instead of doing that, you actually learn to appreciate your own company. So anything to do with trips and particularly with the 9th house, it's overseas travel. With the 3rd house, it's more localized travel, like going to the capital city for a beauty treatment or something. So definitely some sort of trips and travels, higher learning that can be impacted by this. Also, any type of benefactor influence in your life, where something might happen suddenly, out of the blue, unexpectedly, beneficially, and then might not manifest as in the way you'd hoped, or it doesn't quite last. And then to finish off, you change your attitude about it. You've got a new perspective, and you've developed a higher level approach to whatever the issue happened to be in regard to those things ruled by the 9th house and the 3rd house. So I do hope that this has given some insight for everybody. The final thing, now that's on the 30th, and in the longitudinal countries near Australia, and the 29th in the other parts of the world. And finally on Wednesday the 31st, we've got a grand trine occurring between the Moon, the North Node, and Jupiter Chiron. So the Moon, just to flip this up to Aries again, the Moon is going to be connecting with the North Node down here, and we've got, remember, we have Chiron sitting here. I've taken my dot away, there it is. And so we've got this connection. It's a grand trine between these 3 points of the sky. So a very manifesting, positive, easy flowing day on the Monday. Sorry, the Wednesday the 31st, not the Monday. My mistake. And so this is actually going to leave us at the end of this week of astro energy with a really empowered sense of ease and abundance and blessing, because the moon is a manifesting planet. Jupiter is abundance, larger than life, luck, good fortune. And Chiron has to do with our healing. So we can experience some sort of manifestation on this day that is just a step in the road, basically, towards our overall healing in whatever area Chiron happens to fall in our chart. So it's a very easy, gentle energy on this day, and something to look forward to as we head into the first week of November. And I'll be back with a reading, a review of the next week in the astrological weather next week. But let's finish with a prayer. Thank you for joining me today. And let's just look forward to a week of Venus energy. Thank you, universe, for the way you have structured everything to work so beautifully together to bring us to a place of our highest good and our utmost benefit. And I ask that for each one listening to this video today, that we will manifest the higher energies of the planets, that Venus retrograde will actually be working for our benefit, our highest good, to take us up a notch in our evolution of our soul's journey this lifetime. And we thank you for the opportunity to work with these energies this week. May we be wise, may we be intelligent, and may we tune in to our higher selves so that we know the right course of action to take each day. And so it is. And thank you for joining me.
Rocket number 9, take off to the planet.